Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. It's unbelievable how people just really turn things around as if we don't remember. And most of them don't remember. It's like he caused this harm to this person, and you find out that actually it was the other way around. And you know it was not like that. So what's going on here? We have an Ukrainian media outlet, Ukrainska Pravda, that tells us that the G7, who meets in the countries of the G7, meet in Hiroshima, in Japan, and they will make a decision on something that the Russians did. Well, we lived through all this Ukraine BS so far, so we kind of know what was the chronology of events. So let's see what the title says here, and let's analyze at least the title. So Ukrainska Pravda, this article comes from May 20th, 2023. G7 approves plan to counter Russian energy blackmail. So that, if you just read the article, the title, that means the Russians blackmailed the West or someone with the energy. Like what? Okay, so let me tell you how things happen if you don't remember. Happened if you don't remember. Russia had a problem with some countries. How should I put it? Specifically, United States of America, who is in charge of NATO, which NATO are a bunch of countries that do what the United States tell them to do. So it's basically the lapdogs of the United States. This is NATO. So NATO expanded towards Russia, and somehow NATO did not disband after the Warsaw Pact dissolved. That was, who are you fighting against? Who is the enemy that you're preparing? NATO expanded towards Russia. I'm not going to go into, hey, you promise not to do it, or you promise or you don't. The reality is, they brought military infrastructure closer to Russia. That is, minimizing the Russia's reaction time to an eventual preemptive, surprise attack by the West, if that would happen. So from the Russian point of view, if in an argument you want to solve a problem, you listen to both sides and see, hey, what's going on here? Hey, what's going on here? If you don't want to solve it, you ignore one side and you take only this one, and you deliver justice based on only one testimony, not 2 or 3 or 4. That's now how we conduct things. We're used to anyway. So Russia said, hey guys, you are too close. You're coming too close to close. Let's discuss, let's arrange, let's put a framework, create the mechanism so I don't feel threatened by you guys, you don't feel threatened by us. The other side's response was you. All right. So then, therefore, remember, Russia obviously had economic mechanism and deals, signed agreements with countries all around the world, including some in Europe, more or less. Then Russia said, guys, we have to take care of this. We're gonna do, even if you take it as Russia said, I'm going to invade Ukraine because I want Ukraine. All right, let's put it this way. And let's say Russia invaded Ukraine unprovoked and wants to take over Ukraine. Okay, there was at no point when Russia said, if you guys intervene, you support Ukraine, which they did over and over and over with the sanctions. At no point Russia blackmailed and say, you know what, if you give them howitzers or you give them tanks, which they gave, airplanes, if you give them intelligence, if you coordinate, if you do this, we are going to stop sending you oil or gas. Was it at any time when Russians said that? On the contrary, the Western countries, these guys that started supplying, helping the other side, being on the other side, which was part of the other side, they started imposing sanctions on Russia, not Russia on them. So where's the blackmail? This guy said, we are going to supply this, I'm going to put sanctions on you, we're going to put sanctions on you if you don't stop the war. So who's blackmailing who? Ukraine is not part of the European Union, is not part of NATO, it's just another country. And these guys intervened all the way and started imposing sanctions and blackmailing the other side, or however you want to call it, threaten. So where was the Russian blackmail? I don't see it. Did the Russians say, if you intervene, we're going to cut off the energy? Do you have that statement anywhere? Because that's what they're talking about. I bet you don't have it. The Russians still supply Western and Eastern Europe with oil. Still at this point through Druzhba pipeline, for instance. Countries in Europe decided not to. I'm not going to pay for it. I'm not going to buy it from you. Good, that's fine. That's fine. That's how it should be in a free economy, free market. You don't want to do dealings with me? Go and buy it more at a higher price at the Gigi. But you're stupid. Go ahead. But it's your right to do that. But Russia says no. If you supply, they didn't tell the Poles. If you supply Ukraine with, I don't know, let's say MiG-29s, we're going to cut the energy to you. Did it happen? Did it happen? No. So where's the blackmail? I don't get the blackmail these guys are talking in the title. Where is it? And remember, they say plan to counter Russian energy blackmail. What do you mean counter? It's like it's occurring. In the future? You in the future, I say the Russians will use the blackmail in the future. What do you mean? You are all in. What else do you need to do for the Russians to start blackmailing you? Since 1 year and 2 months, these guys provided Ukraine with everything. They're the bloodline over there. If the West stops providing what they provide to Ukraine, or they fight the Russians as with the Ukrainian army over there, what do you think would happen? These guys die in two days. So I don't understand what their blackmail is. Maybe you guys understand it. But remember, bring facts and evidence. Don't tell me, you know how it is, or the Russians are bad. Well, okay, well, all right. And let me take my little toy and play with the cars. Bing, bing, bang, bang. Okay, I'm not, okay, we passed that, I guess. Or at least some of us. So anyway, this is how they report this. So G7, they react to something that never happened. And they are the guys who react. They are forced to. Like they were forced somehow to react in Ukraine because Russia invaded unconditionally. Now that's a lot of ignoring of facts and evidence. That you can find them. It's not something that's hidden. You can find it. You can find the chronology of events, and you can go, I urge you to go to 2013. Let's start from there. You want to start earlier? We can start whenever you want. Whenever you want. It's like the, I will say it. It's like the Bible. Or the Old and New Testament. That's over there, that's written. It's written, I don't know, it's on the book. It's written. The problem is there and no more. There's interpretations of that, but that is what is over there. So we can read what exactly was said. Now, if we like to ignore certain things, or we try to interpret things, you know, that's not literally, right? Here is just euphemistically, and here is a real mot a mot, you know, word by word. And here we ignore this, doesn't make sense, it's something we don't understand. We come with these kind of justifications, and we can create a narrative. The same here. We can create a narrative like Russia invaded unconditionally, unprovoked. It was no provocation, nothing, nobody did. They're just bad people. If you want like that, well then, I don't know how people drive cars. I don't know how they decide, I don't like the stop sign. I think it's, I don't know, this or that. I don't like it. It's just a suggestion. Well, I don't like to follow rules. I go to work and say, I'm not going to listen to you today, because I think you're this and that. Is that how you work in a society, in real life? You're hungry, but you're not going to eat, because no. Hunger comes from, I don't know, a discomfort created by, I don't know, watching too many movies or something. No, you're pretty much correct when you say, well, I'm hungry, I need to eat. Well, I have some urges, I go to the bathroom, or I need to... You know exactly, but somehow in this situation as well, we have to react to their blackmail. Remember, I don't give up about the Russians, I don't give up about the other guys. I care about how these guys are just manipulating us, or trying to manipulate, and they succeed in manipulating a lot of population, a lot of it. This is what bothers me. It's this lie. And who are the liars? Because we are the idiots, right? We are the idiots who they give us all this. People read that. People read that article. People read that, and it's exactly for that consumption, to read it. How do you dare to write such a BS? As I said, I don't care if it's the Russians or not. Leave the parties. Just put names, Gigi, Tom, and Mike, and all this. And you tell me, where was the blackmail? The Russians still supply. They never say, you know what, we're done right now. Done with you, whatever. It was always like this. Always. Trump said it first. Well, how do you guys remember he told Germany, how do you guys do business with them, but then you're in part of NATO? Like, he acknowledged the NATO is against Russia. They can blackmail you at any time. Well, they can. But if they can, that means the guys that Germany buys right now resources from can do the same thing, can't they? Unless you know that the Russians are bad and the ones that are providing you now with energy are not bad. Which again, we go into these kind of things and no, good and bad, good and evil. Stop that. Stop that. It's quantities of good and evil in each of us. Unless you think you're perfect, and then good job. Second coming of the Jesus Christ is right. Of the Jesus Christ is right here. Anyway, my friends, sorry to put inside, but it was the easiest analogy that I could make. And as intellectuals, I think we can use whatever without feeling insulted. I mean, if we feel insulted by this and that, should be only insulted because people try to lie to us, or try to make fool of us. But trying to defend certain things, well, let's discuss them. I'm always for conversations, always for debate. Ready. So anyway, yeah, they are countering the Russian blackmail. That, in my assessment, I don't see it. Maybe you saw it. And be afraid. Yeah, be afraid. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.